Okay, hey everybody. This is Grace, and you know, I sound so weird. Today I was listening to my videos, and I sound really weird on them. Whether I do it inside the house or outside, my voice does not sound like mine. I am having troubles with allergies, but the weird sound, it sounds like kind of sounds a little bit, no, not, maybe I wouldn't say that, what's it called? Vocal fry. I didn't know the name of it till recently. I could still have it wrong. But I've heard it for years now. I'm like, that is the grossest sounding thing possible. And I saw it on one, what is that show? Remember the show they used to go, the plane. And then they made a new version of that. And it was the first, I think it was the first episode when they showed the woman. And it was an elderly woman who got changed into a young woman, but she still had that voice. Anyway, you really needed to know all that, right? See, there goes my voice. Now it's this. Yeah, but it sounds so weird. Really, seriously. But one of the things I want to talk about in this video, so to get to it, is it's actually kind of more of two things, maybe blend together. But it's when, now I have mentioned this on one of my channels, that ever since I was born, really, I was born into seeing people who are, you know, there's a narcissistic personality disorder, the DSM cluster B personality disorders, narcissistic, histrionic, antisocial, and borderline personality disorders. That's 4. And the histrionic one, yeah, I think some people think of something totally different, really, kinda, when they think about histrionic. They think it's always just a woman thing. Nope. And they think in this, that, and the other, but it's when, these are people who can be very, very bad. I see them as the adult mean girls and adult mean boys, the drama kings, the drama queens. These are people who, they don't care. They want to be the center of attention. They don't care how they get it. And they don't care if it's negative attention, positive attention. As long as they're getting attention, and anybody who's negative, they'll call them haters or trolls or something. You know, oh, those are just people. They'll turn it around on them or try really hard to. It's them that they're the ones that are wrong. Somehow, someway. And then they play the victim. That's just up their alley, man. Very theatrical. And not all of them do all these, and not all of them do the same with the ones they do. But man, they have to have that attention. Like, you have something big in your life going on. You know, like I had lost a dog a couple months ago. It was not, the dog did not, it was bad. Okay, it was very bad. And I didn't have time to grieve then, and I still really haven't enough, I think. Because so much was going on, and I had poor health. Seriously, that's a whole thing in itself. I'm much better now, at least I hope so. But it was a whole thing, and even there was a neighbor who, it was so many people, histrionic, so many adult mean girls, so many drama kings, drama queens. It was mainly the drama king, drama queen stuff. They had to be center of attention. Oh, they would turn it around and make it all about them. Oh. I'm not talking normal. Okay, I'm not at all talking normal. Somebody loses a fur baby that they've seen. One of them, she had only seen it on something like Skype. That's it. But she just couldn't handle, oh, she had to go back. It wasn't to me, it was to Adam, one of his family members. Oh, baby, so sad. Gross. Making everything all about you. Like I said, that was a mild one. There was even a neighbor who said she went into fasting. Okay? Fasting. I mean, for some people, that's part of their culture. Some it's part of their religion. Some it's both. That can be involved. But they want to make it all about them. And that during that time, I had never, ever seen... I've known Adam. He and I met and married over 40 years ago. And I had never seen that behavior. The way he behaved was unbelievable. Very, very histrionic. Seriously. I would say. I could, I'm not diagnosing or anything. It's just the behaviors were so far drama king. Maybe I just should say drama king. And needing attention 24/7, 365. And I wasn't about to give it. I couldn't. I, had been in the hospital, what was it, a month before that? I think about a month. Or two. Whenever it was, with heart failure. And there was a whole thing about that too. And it was too much. It was just too much. And I needed to be away. I needed to be able to rest. I needed to be able to, do things like elevate my feet. I needed to be able to have some calmness in my life. Not everything up in an uproar. Oh, drama, drama, drama. Oh, trauma. Trauma, I experienced trauma, from these people like this. Not kidding. I am not joking. I'm not trying to be, what is the word, best word, glib, or whatever is the word. I'm just being serious. I have had these kinds of people that do this on a regular since I was born. My mother had, I'm not saying this about everybody who has this, but my mother, she had postpartum depression after she had me. I was the fourth out of 5 children. And, she was so dramatic. Unbelievably dramatic. I don't remember it, of course. I was told these things as, I got older. And one of them, I actually was old enough to hear her. And I had to be, I don't know. I had to be old enough to understand it. So, but she was so dramatic with about me and her postpartum depression. She never got over it. She never really did. I was that black sheep. I was that one she really did not care about. And I'm talking her whole, my whole life with her. She died 2014, yeah. And she was, and the bad thing was when it really came to shove, not push came to shove, but what really was, I was the one that treated her better than the rest of them. Seriously. Again, not kidding. And she had dementia. She got it around my age, or younger than I am now. She had early dementia. And man, it was rough. But anyway, I've seen this. Well, I saw this in her from then, so long ago, my whole life. But I was born into it, as I say, because that's not where it stopped. There was so much, just so much. And I'm not talking just my family or my extended family. No. I could say the neighborhood, the community, the schools, the environment all around. So much drama. Unbelievable amount of drama. Trust me on this, okay? Trust me on that. I've lived in a lot of places since then. Once I got 18, I got the heck out of Dodge, seriously, and moved away and got married a few months later and got the heck out of Dodge again. We moved around, I don't know how many years. I moved to different states. I've seen a lot, I've lived in a lot, and nothing compares, okay? Nothing. So, no other place that I lived in, small towns, big cities, you name it. And no. Or just places to travel to, could see. Just go to the store, stay there a night or two or whatever, and go to the store and you don't see the drama. Actually, there where I grew up, going to a store is actually, the last time I went there, which was when my mom died, it's better. It's actually better because people, they need their jobs, and they show that they want their jobs and that they plan on doing their jobs. They're not just standing there with their cell phones. You know, I don't know, it could change by now, but it was like night and day, seriously. You know, I'd go there and there was so much customer service, actual customer service. You know, and the customer was not always wrong. You know, when I was growing up, a customer was always right, which I don't think anybody's always right. But when I got older and I kept seeing, you know, places people thought the customers were always wrong. Yeah, the customers were wrong because they actually wanted, you know, customer service. It's gone that bad, but I'm doing another go with my own flow, you know, stream of consciousness, kind of, sort of. Yeah. But anyway. Okay, but, you know, let me get back to this about why I'm wanting to say this is ever since I was young, I never had those, I never had opportunities much to talk about anything about me. I'm not kidding. A lot of things I'm going to say about why I never got this chance. And that was because I was surrounded by a lot of people like this. You know, seriously. I just already said all that. And they would think, you know, the real histrionic, real adult men, girl, drama kings, drama queens, they would think that their lives were so interesting that everybody wanted it in their views. Everybody, you know, that kind. They think in terms of everybody wanted to know them. Everybody would be interested in them talking about their lives. Their lives were quite boring, to tell you the truth. The stories, a lot of them were boring stories. And they did not want anybody else to be the center of attention, so they, you know, like me, I'm going to push you aside. I'm going to talk louder. I'm going to say, oh, you and blame you on something, cause some trouble. Oh, it's unbelievable. Anybody that was trying to get attention, you know, not even trying to get attention, was just talking about something. You know, somebody had somebody, you know, lost somebody, or somebody their spouse was in the hospital. It didn't matter. Anything that would take away from them getting the attention. Oh no, you can have 5 seconds, and then it's mine. And there's things they would do, the loud voices, the cackles, loud cackles, the, you know, smelling like a, what's that expression? I gotta stop using that expression. But, you know, so much cologne, so much makeup, so much bling, so much wild hair, you know, big hair when big hair was over. I could tell some stories. One of them actually told me one day that I needed to do my hair with more curls. My hair is naturally curly. But she told me I should do up my hair. And I'm looking at her. She's in my home now. She's known for what she is. And I'm sitting there just looking at her and trying to not crack up laughing, because she looked like she did her hair like Medusa's. Seriously. It was, oh my gosh, really. Woman. She was in her 40s. Please. It was so disgusting. I mean, she didn't put, like, you know, some kind of plastic snakes or something. No. Just her hair was roped, you know, and just so weird looking. I'm not going to, you know, she thought I should do my hair like she does hers. No, thank you. I'm not crazy. Seriously. Yeah, and it was not a fashion thing. It was just a her thing. She does stuff to get. It's not, the way she had it, like I said, not a fashion, not a style, not, It was just, she wanted everybody to look at her, you know. And so it had to be something look crazy. That gets everybody's attention. She was the one that goes to restaurants and talks really loud and laughs really loud and disrupts everybody else that's in there. Them trying to have a nice, quiet meal together with somebody, or they could discuss something, or it doesn't have to be real quiet. They can just discuss something. That couple over there could have a discussion with one another, or that family could have a family dinner. No, she needed to be a center of everybody's attention. That kind. Yeah. But being around this type, and it's really, it's not too strange, but it is strange to see so many of them. I'm not the only person who's seen so many of them, but to see and to know so many of this type, that you can go back and there's so many theories on stuff like that. Okay, but honestly, it was an unbelievable amount. So I did a lot of videos over the years and writing and stuff. Well, mainly videos over about 10 years or so on people with these types of behaviors. And what I wanted to talk about this time, maybe I'll do more after this video because it's already getting long, is that what it's like to be around them. You don't have a choice. You can't force people to stop being so bad. You can't force them to change. You can't force them not to do something. You can't force. You can say goodbye, adios. Which I have. Okay, I have disowned them. Like as if you own anybody. No, I have said no more. Bye bye. Strange. I don't contact him. He don't. No. Believe me, it's added maybe probably some years to my life being away from them. The drama, but I still have to deal with drama. Just not as much. Really, seriously, just not as much. And then that's when it comes to Adam and his family. Oh my. Most of them don't even live in, I'd say 50-50 probably. They live in 2 other countries. Okay, some live there, some live there. Of course. Some go back and forth. But some live here in the United States, but not anywhere near us. One of them lives in Texas with the Medusa hair woman, and other one in California, and their family. And then there's some South Texas, different places, not anywhere near here, thank goodness. But when they come over here, one was visiting, and I'm Medusa. Adam. They just don't come anymore, and I'm glad. Adam said to me one time it was because of me. I said, "Oh well, thank you." Oh, I could not stand them. Could not. No, Medusa. That's not. She was the girlfriend of his brother. Oh my goodness. Trying to deal with. I have chemical allergies, and I let him know. Just like his sister and his niece that just left, that was 31. I let them know I can't be around it. Okay, they come in, with it just covered, or do just stuff. Make sure they spray it on here in the house, on and on. It was bad. Yeah, and I know what that means. When somebody, you wouldn't give peanuts or make a meal with peanuts hidden in it to somebody who has peanut allergies. That's basically what they were doing. So no, you're not welcome here, They're not welcome at all. But anyway, all this stuff. You see how I can't even talk much about myself, because that's the whole point I was getting to. I was never really, it's not allowed, because you're not going to tell me what to do. But it was that they would interrupt anybody who was not even trying, like I said, just who was the center of attention at the time. They're going to interrupt, and they're going to change it back to them. So nobody, it wouldn't be just me, nobody else was going to have any part of their life discussed, talked, nothing. Give you a few seconds, like I said. That's it. That's how they were. So you can go, and me, I have gone a whole lifetime. There are so many interesting things I don't even talk about that have happened in my life. Nobody knows except the person or people who were there at the time. Okay? That's it. And it's none of these people who, they weren't there at the time. But I mean, I had earned degrees, plural, and I mentioned it when I got my master's degree. I mentioned it to one of my sisters. She goes, "What's that?" And none of them knew that I was even working on anything, because they're not going to, even if I mentioned it, they're not going to hear it. They might hear the words, but I'd say they're not listening. They don't commit it to memory, because it's not about them. And plus, there's that whole jealousy, envy thing going on with them. It's big. And, but there were things I never told anybody. I'm moving in that direction. I never told anybody about my, I like to call it these days, because I don't tell anybody the score, but I have an impressive IQ. It's on up there. Nobody knew about that. Nobody. I asked Adam, when, like I said, he and I met and married over 40 years ago. I said, when did I first tell you about that? And he said he could not remember. He said he couldn't remember me telling him when we were younger. It was just like the past few years. And I don't remember. I don't remember telling him, I'm 62 now, just turned 62. And I don't remember telling anybody until I was like in my 50s, late 50s maybe even. And it was me making videos that I was opening up, talking about it. You can imagine how that went over. Oh man. Yeah, anyway. Here's my rude neighbor. Okay. She's quite nosy. So, okay. I said that because I can see it. Something moves outside my side view mirror, and I look over, and these are people who have watched us from since we moved in here. I think they were the first people on the block in these new homes over 20 years ago, and they would watch us, and they've never stopped. I think they watch everybody in the neighborhood. It's none of your business, nosy people. It's not the only family who's very nosy around here, seriously. Anyway, but anyway, like I said, well, they might know stuff about me because they were so nosy. Oh my gosh, unbelievable. Anyway, a lot of cars come home. What time is it? 8:02. You would think people would be home and not so much traffic. It's a neighborhood, it's not. No, this is not a busy street. So anyway, but yeah, the whole thing about all that is, I grew up, growing up and onward. I was never really, like I said, nobody told me I couldn't. But when you're around people like that, you don't really get the chance to talk about what's going on in your life, stuff with that kind. Because they are going to shut it down and talk about themselves. Whether it's somebody who's narcissistic and or histrionic, borderline, whatever combination. Yeah. And unfortunately was surrounded by them. I'd even go to work and I'd say there's always going to be that one, and there always would be. Classes, I was a career student over 20 years, taught college and university. There would always be that one. That was back then. These days, I think it started changing into there's only one who's not like that. I have a feeling. I do have a feeling that it's a bunch of people who want to be center of attention. I could be wrong. Hopefully, I'm saying hopefully, that in school, you know, people who are going to take classes for whatever, they don't have to deal with people who are so obnoxious as this histrionic adult mean girls, adult mean boys, drama kings, drama queens, you know, this kind of stuff. Hopefully, they can actually get an education and not just learn about how bad this type can be, because they're going to be center of attention. I think in one class, I think the woman, she let a student who was being like that, she let her know, you're going to stop or you're out. Okay. Then a lot of students, you know, they're being, they're there by their parents, or their parents paying for it, and yeah, you want to start working, or are you going to go to school and be decent? You know, not so obnoxious. Anyway, at least at that one. We had some of them, so. Okay. Now the other thing was that I said I was actually, it was that how, you know, so that's the one is that I don't really get to ever say much about myself. You know, not only that, but I have a rare health condition. I never told it. I don't think I ever told anybody that either until I was in my 50s. Whatever it was going on then, I started talking about them. It's not like it's like I said. I may have mentioned it to them. They just wouldn't listen. They wouldn't commit it to memory. They didn't want me to talk about it, so they, you know, they just go back to talking about themselves. And as for now, you know, these days, what was happening was today, before I started making this video, I was laying in a bedroom I have made for myself. It's a TV. There's a bed in there. There's a chair in there, a bookshelf. You know, different things I've added to that room. It was originally an office, and I watch TV, and I usually fall asleep because that's what I do these days. Watch TV, fall asleep, and I was trying to, because I didn't sleep. I seldom ever sleep right at night since I had all these health issues. Really, I don't even know if I should say 2 years or just over 2 years or what, or just more recent. But anyway, so I tend to sleep some during the day, and I need to have that kind of rest. I feel like that, but I also need to be active, not overly active. Okay. And in my house, it's a big house, and it takes a lot out of me all day long. Just to go to the restroom is a trip. I'm serious. Okay, and it is. We had to rig up a way to keep the dogs from going to the front part of the house, which is where I am. And it's not like we could, you know, one side of it, which was the formal, at one point, was the formal dining room. It's open. The door, there's no wall, there's no doors. It's just open, you know, to the rest of the house, kind of, basically. And then there's a French door. It's a small French door that goes to the kitchen. Well, that whole area, as it become now, you know, all this had to be blocked off because the dogs would try to run out the front door. Can't have that. And yes, we can train them and all that, but yeah, you know, I mean, it worked, but every blue moon, and no, scared one of our neighbors one time. Hers scared me before that. But it is so much so for me to go to the restroom. I take 3 diuretics a day. 3. One of them being the generic, you know, the big one. Anyway, I don't like to mention names of medications, but for me to go to the restroom and with those, yeah, it's going to be several times a day. Several. I need to write them down one day and see how many, you know, for 24 hours. But anyway, of course, from that room, I have to go across the entranceway. These are not small. Through that room that was the formal dining area, but now it's my office. And through the kitchen, through a little hall, through the living room, all the way around to another hall, past the master bedroom, down the hall. This is not a short distance, seriously. Several times a day. Just that alone, I'm going to have to deal with with the dogs. As it is, they see me, oh yay, mommy, give us some more food. The dogs we have now, one of them, they're rescues. She was a rescue, and she loves ice. Oh my goodness, she has to have ice several times a day, and which I'm fine with, you know. But she also wants to eat several times a day. So does the other one, though. The other big, well, he's big. She's like, she's about a year old. She's not a small dog. She's a pretty big dog. And, but she's just, oh my goodness, she's, you know, everybody wants to get away from her. She's such a, like I call them, attention sluts. Yeah. But she's not really a puppy, but yeah, kind of. She's, yeah. Anyway, she's a big dog. And just, you know, just me trying to get to the restroom, which I take diuretics, 3, remember? It's so difficult. I'm like, you got to move. And no, those 2 dogs, they're going to stand right in front of me, right in my way, every time. Pretty much every time, unless they're asleep. If they're awake, you betcha. They're going to be guarding me like they're guarding anybody from being in front of me. Me moving in front of me. Oh my goodness, it's unbelievable. I come out of the bathroom door, they're standing right there. Nobody's going to get anywhere near me. You know? And you think, oh, that's great, that's wonderful. No, not when you take 3 diuretics per day. I can't stress this enough. And it's just so frustrating. All these things are so frustrating. And what was happening today, I was going to mention that. I'm trying to lay down. Next thing I know, bam, bam, bam. Doors slamming. And we have, you know, it's, you know, we can, you know, I can look at my cell phone and see what's going on in certain parts of the house. And overall, pretty much a good chunk of it. And, so I did and said, what's going on in there? And it was just more bam, bam. Okay, so I was falling asleep. Then there was the bam, bam, you know, and this is consistent. No matter what time of the day, no matter what time of the day, all the way through the evening. It's generally not at night, and that's when I wake up. You know, it's in the middle of the night. And because it's quiet. I kind of want to be awake when it's quiet. That's the bad thing. When it is, yeah. When am I going to sleep? Get good sleep. Anyway, and that happened. Then I did that, and Adam heard me, so he came to the room, turned the light on, the big light. Okay, don't do that. And because he does that, and then he, you know, says, what's going on? You know, he was not being mean. He just said, what is it? And so I just heard a noise. I wanted to know what was going on. And then he says something, I don't know. And he walks, he says, oh, okay, or something like that. And leaves the light on. Okay, he's going to do that. I said, hey, before he does it, turn it off. Because most times he'll leave the big light on. I'm trying to sleep. So that because of the way the light is, they messed up on this house. It's on the outside of that room, the light switch. You know, I was avoiding getting up to go find out what was going on in the living, you know, in that part of the house by looking on my cell phone. Hello, you can answer me through that. Oh, all you gotta do is speak and I hear you. Okay. So then that happened, and then he goes to the other door. He leaves it open. The other dog, not the new one. He gets in. He comes and leans himself up to the door, to the office, which are French doors too. Don't have a lock on them. I have to put a hair scrunchie across to keep them shut. That dog leans up against it. I don't know what he's doing, what in the world he was doing. He was pushing the door, pushing it, pushing. So the door was going open and close, open and close, open and close, open and close against that hair scrunchie. And it was keeping it from opening all the way. And I'm telling the dog to get away from the door because here I am. I'm trying to rest. Okay, and this is going. That door is open and bing, 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 making that noise. Unbelievable. So I get up and tell the dog, try to get the dog through the other door. And, you know, it was determined, they were determined I wasn't going to lay down and stayed laying down. So I try to get him to go through the other door to the kitchen to go out there. He doesn't want to. He starts running and hiding under the desk. And there was a swimming thing, you know, those plastic, not plastic, but foam swimming, you know, you put them around your, you know, around your body or whatever. And there was one sitting there, so I grabbed it and, you know, chased the dog with it. I didn't, you know, hurt him or hit him or anything. Just chased him with it, and I pushed him with it. So come on, go this way. He's a big dog. He's a big dog. And come on, you know, go out. He didn't want to, so there I am, chasing the dog. You see what I'm saying? This is typical. Every day, several times a day. Not kidding, that some crazy stuff like this. Because I want to rest. I need to rest. How dare I? So I get him out there now. Well, you know, remember that I take 3 times a day. So I have to go to the restroom. Go to the restroom. And, you know, I'm not going to get back to the room for a while. By the time I got back up here, I said, I'm going outside. I'm going outside. Speaking of which, 3 times a day. That's the wind thing. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. But yeah, you know, this is my day. This is my typical day, is that when do I just get a moment to myself? I can tell stories. You know, like when during that time when the dog and all that, you know, passed and all, and Adam was acting so weird. I couldn't even get peace and quiet in the restroom. You know, I'd have somebody knocking on the door. Or I was taking a shower one day and Adam unlocked the other big door, came in there, and because he was upset about something. Oh, I was so angry. I'm a mild-mannered person, so most time people don't know how angry I am. I was like, no, I want peace, some peace and quiet, just a place to, you know, I can go and nobody's going to be there telling me, oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, acting a drama queen, drama king. No, you know. Anyway, I'm wrapping this up. This is getting long. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.